Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. And my goodness, are we in for a treat this chapter? It is absolutely unbelievable what Oda has just done. And this has been building up for so long, and no wonder he left it to 1110 to set off the rest of Egghead, the rest of the final saga, with such a reveal. This is massive, and we just need to get straight into it because I gotta start talking about it. So, without further ado, chapter 1110, Planet Fall or Falling Stars is the title. Early translations are still always a bit not official, but we'll see come Sunday what actually is the definition. But that is the closest we've got. And we continue with the cover story of Wano, and is indeed what we all thought and what I predicted. It is Yamato telling Momonosuke she is setting off, just like Oden, to explore Wano. She's going to travel all around just like Oden did. So, pretty nice. I assume as, again, the cover stories go on, we're going to see the rest of them, Kinemon and the others, and what they're all up to now, maybe settling down, or whether they're training. They're going to hear about this news. Maybe we'll see their reaction to what's happening. But clearly, things are heating up. We had a big break last week. So, last we left off, we had the big reveal of Vegapunk's message around the world. So there was a 10-minute timer that Vegapunk had himself set up within the video, and the Gorosei believed it was triggered by a dead man switch. So this recording that is being broadcast across the world, there is now 10 minutes, or I think it was 9.5 minutes by the end of the chapter, for when Vegapunk was going to reveal a truth that would shatter everything, the truth of this world. And that is not just the time precedence that has been set now. Pretty certain everyone else is in like final positions ready to leave. The Blackbeard pirates have done what they wanted to do and have left. All of the Straw Hats are in positions ready to leave. So Lilith and Brooke were on the way to go get the others with the Sunny. Frankie, Atlas and all them have made it to the Viking ship. Things were sort of being set in place. Jinbei was going to get Zoro, and Luffy was holding off Kizaru and Saturn. When he threw Kizaru away, Saturn boomeranged himself back somehow, and when just back against the wall, the Gorosei were communicating with each other the entire time and said enough was enough, begin the summoning. And that is when 4 streams of black lightning are piercing through the sky, and that is where we kick off from. We see everyone's reaction. All the Marines are watching the lightning in the distance and are just like, what in the world is going on? It is just like when Saturn arrived. And we see Bluegrass's face. She is terrified. And like all the others, we see Frankie, Atlas and the Vikings all looking up like, I hope everyone's okay, like what is actually happening? Bonnie's the one saying this. And we see that the rest of the Vikings and the pacifistas are still destroying ships. They are trying to clear a path so that they can make their escape away from Egghead. But we see that obviously not everyone's there. All the giants, Dory and Broggy in particular, are heading towards the middle of the island. They're getting on the action. They are hundreds of feet away now. They've got to be close. And we hear some more of Vegapunk's recording now. So we jump to Marie Joie of all places, which is strange, but definitely makes sense. Because as the audio and the video is still playing, Vegapunk is talking about this Vega coffee he's made, like just one drop, you add it to water, and like it's going to change the world. It's like a miracle, this warm, delicious beverage from just a drop. And we see inside the room of authority a burning sigil on the ground, and none of the Gorosei are there anymore. They have disappeared, and we can see the recording still carries on as we jump back to Egghead, and we see the 4 portals with creatures rising from them. And Vegapunk is saying, like, how much time did we just kill there? Right, we've got 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay, that's all right. Right, let's start a schedule. What happened? Did they like silence the broadcast? Okay, we've got to be careful here. The amount of extra time won't be enough. Okay, we've just got to stick to it. So while that's just carried on in the background, though, that is not the most important part, because as Saturn is readying up, 4 giant creatures all take shape. And we see Luffy's reaction. Luffy is like, there are 5 monsters? What? Like, he's freaking out. And Sanji is the one to say, while he's running away with Vegapunk, like, he's the next closest person of the Straw Hats to seeing what's happening. And he is like, I've got to go warn the others. Like, Nami and the others need to know what's happening now. We need to get out of here. But now, we get the reveal. The 5 Gorosei, the 5 elder planets, all together, and each of them get named as well as the form they are taking. So up at the top we have St. J. Garcia Saturn himself, and beside him we see his demonic form, the Gyuki, or the Ushi Oni. So, like it was predicted a long time ago when we first saw him, this is indeed the spider, like, bull demon that he is, that can kill travellers in a single stare. So, we've seen that power happen already when he just annihilated that poor marine and just by looking at him. So, pretty strong, but again, a yokai, this Oni vibe going on, continues. So, the next reveal is St. Marcus Mars, the tall, slender, bearded gentleman. He takes the form of the Itsumade, which is a like giant bird humanoid, like serpent demon that's like a vengeful spirit. And he is massive. Like, he is huge. Super long, super terrifying. Fits the bill of a demon. So, we're 2 for 2 so far on yokai demon fronts. Next up, we have Top Man Walkyrie. And he takes the form of a Hoki. And it is a giant boar with 4 tusks. A flaming boar. And I think this one is a Chinese folklore like demon that terrorized like countrysides. But again, huge, very wide, terrifying. The coolest one of them all, and we'll go into more why. Ethan Baron v. Nos Juro, the swordsman of the 5 elders, takes on the form of the Bakotsu, a skeletal horse that was said to have been burned to death, the spiritual. However, and just as it fits, he is a giant, long, skeletal horse, and it is incredible. Definitely the coolest design, and we'll go more into why in a sec because we see him in action. Last but not least, Oda changed it up a bit. We have 4 yokais, and Saint Shepherd Jupiter is a sandworm. I guess Oda was a big fan of Doom, guys, because obviously after a success, Oda thought, I know, Shalai Halud is going to be in the One Piece, and none other. It is going to be one of the 5 elders. And I think there was part of the online translations that were saying that how One Piece is normally written in Japanese, the kanji, or what was written, the katakana for the sandworm, is more like a direct, like the sandworm. So there is no understanding of a yokai that is a giant sandworm. It is just more of a cool idea that, Dune's success, there's giant sandworms, a terrifying creature of that nature. Why not one of the Gorosei be a sandworm? Now, something to point out here, because a lot of people online are saying, like, oh, we get the reveal of their devil fruits, like what they're looking at. Their forms get named here, but not their devil fruits. So, hypothetically speaking, what if the 5 elders are the incarnation of these spirits, these yokais, a sandworm? What if Eam has imbued them or summoned them with that, and they just take on human forms? Because their devil fruit doesn't get mentioned here. And, like, would there be a devil fruit to take on the Gyuki or the Bakotsu or a sandworm? What if they are those creatures and Eam turn them human to make them immortal, or whatever Eam's power actually is going to be? Because these 5 creatures all worship Eam. Like, what powers Eam got to be able to control these 5 absolute behemoths? Like, it is crazy how powerful these dudes are. And we're about to see, because we have a beautiful, and I'm going to have to show it, a beautiful double huge page spread of the title of Supreme Overlords of the World Government, the 5 Elder Planets. They are enormous, and poor Luffy, like, I know Luffy can go big into giant form, but Luffy is tiny in comparison to these Goliaths, these kaiju, these massive creatures all swarming little Luffy. And it is incredible, the detail in this page. Like, super, super cool. But the action doesn't stop there. That is only halfway through this chapter. We have Ethan Barron neighing, riding up, charging, and we see that he looks through the tree line directly at a pacifista on the coast. And there is like a moment where he like bows his head, like he shakes, he begins to charge, and we see that the skeletal face of the horse like melts away into his face again, like the normal human that we've seen. And within less than a second, Ethan Barron, Nostjuro, is behind the pacifista and has cut a clean slice through the pacifista. And he looks so cool. I'm saying, like, he has got the body of the skeletal horse still, but his top half is now his humanoid form wielding his sword. That's terrifying. Like, the speed he just moved and his swordsman skills are going to be something that, like, is terrifying to go up against. Like, what a cool design to give this guy. And now there's a few points to note. One, he cuts through it, and it is said later, but we can see it obviously here, the ability of his slice, because he is a skeleton, he's undead, he has ice abilities, so the cut freezes the pacifista internally, it stops it functioning. So very similar to like Brook's powers over like the undead, and when he uses his sword and stuff, he controls ice. Ethan Barron is the exact same, so I'd love to see Brook go toe to toe with this guy, both ice undead power vibes. Like, this is so cool. But we do get confirmation that obviously we knew it was coming with how things are moving with swords. His sword is indeed a black blade. So again, we're still learning the specifics of how a blade becomes a black blade, but it was obvious that a world leader, one of the Gorosei, the guy who is the swordsman, was gonna have a black blade. And this, seeing him in action for the first time, we've got some serious foes on our hand here, because we see, again, Ethan runs across the entire coastline and just clean slices one time, just sheathing the sword, slices through each pacifista and doesn't break them. It doesn't destroy them. He doesn't cut them in half. The cut happens and we can see a visible mark, and the Marines say that. They're like, did you just see that? There is a visible mark left on the pacifistas, but they've stopped functioning. They've like fell to their knees. They have frozen. Like, what is happening? Was there a horse just then? So he's not moving at like speeds at which no one can see him, but he's moving quick enough that they can't make out it's one of the Gorosei. So they just see a horse, which is pretty cool. But yeah, everyone is talking about, this is our chance now. An ally has just stopped the pacifistas from destroying our ships. All attention, troops, like, we've got to make like use of this. All of the neural circuitry has frozen over and they are paralysed. Someone on our side has done this, and this is our chance to fight back. And we can see that Doberman like jumps in and is like, look, this is our chance to eliminate Bonnie. She's heading northeast, heading for the shore with the Straw Hats. We have to make the most of it now. Half of the pacifistas have been neutralised. So already, Ethan Barron came out this portal, looked at a pacifista, and has already taken out, I think it was 50 there is, 25 of them are already just neutralised. Pretty phenomenal already to showcase their abilities. And again, we're not done there. So Zorro is off still fighting and they're trying to find him. But Sanji is trying to report to everyone like what is going on. So Sanji is saying, look, anyone come in, Nami, Robin, are you there? Like, this is bad. You've got to get out of there. A giant flying creature is heading your way. A literal monster. Just focus on escaping. You have to run. And this is where we see Marcus Mark himself, the Itsumade, spiralling up, flying high up to the Labo phase, where, by the way, the Frontier Dome is still active. And they said this, they're like, the transmission has to be in the lab, and the trickiest part is the Frontier Dome is still active and no one's getting through that, but no one's leaving. So everyone is trying to make action now, and we see Marcus Mars like screech and dive bomb towards the Frontier Dome, and then there is a giant explosion. Now, whether he has like a flame breath or some explosive breath, I don't know. We do know that the Gorosei, having seen Saturn regenerate several body parts already, can regenerate themselves. What if Marcus Mars just dive bombed in through the Frontier Dome, just took the damage to try and push through it to then regenerate on the other side? This dude just was like, in. Unreal. Like, this is terrifying. But then we see the final slice of Ethan Barron as he like sheaths his sword, galloping along like a mounted swordsman. He has definitely got the coolest design. Also, to note, each of the Gorosei do have those black flame clouds. So there's still a chance it could be a devil fruit because Lucci has the exact same black flame clouds and he has got his awakened fruit. So whether they do have these demonic powers from a devil fruit and they've awakened them because they've lived for so long, again, still a chance. But what if they are just the incarnation of that demon? And that's how they've awakened. They are the true form of it because they are it. Crazy. There's so much. 1110. Insane. But we do see that the others aren't just standing round. Saturn is trying to attack Luffy and he's just jumping out the way. But Saint Jupiter burrows into the ground and Luffy's like, whoa, it's digging just like a worm. So we are getting more recognition of the fact that this is just a sandworm. This is a giant burrowing worm that can just forge its own path through the ground and is going to be pretty powerful and pretty hard to take down. And we do now jump to what the other Straw Hats are doing. We come away from this kaiju battle and we see that Usopp and Nami and Chopper have made contact and have reached where Lilith and Brook are. They've reunited and Brook's like, look, I told you it would stop, like, we're fine. And Lilith's like, yeah, because it was thanks to Usopp. So we see in the back the Sunny is vertical, but a lot of shrubbery and bamboo have stopped it from when it was ice skating across the clouds. And everyone's like, right, we're ready to go. We've met up. Jinbei is talking to them saying, right, situation's bad. I'm going to just have to drag Zoro away from this fight by force. So he's rushing to Zoro and Lucci's location. And he's basically there. We can see Zoro in fight with Lucci. And his sword gets sent spiraling, flying up into the air. And as it's spinning, Lucci's like, Zoro, are you not tempted to go and find the source of this strong haki? Like, what is going on? Are you not curious? And he's like, yeah, it is. It is cropping up everywhere. There is a lot of energy. But we see that Jinbei has reached where they are fighting. And Sanji is talking to him on the transponder and is like, that Moss head, is he still going? They're still at it. Why is he putting everyone in danger? What a burden. And Zoro hears that. That one phrase gets right under Zoro's skin. And there is like a burst, a moment of like conquerors that happened just slightly around Zoro. And as Lucci attacks with his spotted handgun, is using his finger pistols, he sends a flurry towards Zoro. But Zoro doesn't flinch. He just stands still and just like moves out the way because he's so fucking badass. And the sword, just like when he threw it back in Logtown, when he threw the sword to test it, the sword spins right back down and he catches it in midair, sheaths up, drags out, third sword, has all three out for the first time, and does the leopard hunt, the spotted leopard Hahava hunt. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hahavaha. It's meant to be a word that relates to like the coldest level of like hell in Buddhism. But leopard hunt is the attack that he just one-shots Lucci with. Like, straight through, burst of conquerors around him. Even Jinbei's like, whoa, hold up. And we see Zoro's like just coated and he is like furious, like that comment really just got under his skin, and he just proved the point that he's not holding back anymore. So, my boy, well done. I'm proud. But last panels of the chapter, and there's so much that's happened, and we're still not done, but we're wrapping up slowly as we see Luffy has been jumping, dodging around up mid-air, and Jupiter, as the sandworm, rushes up from the ground, unburrows, and swallows Luffy whole. But just in time, Dory and Broggy rush in, and just in conversation, just like, did you see it? What a nostalgic face, you know. A dark belly is no place for someone like that to be. We're going to get him out. And they scream, child of the soaring sun. And they slice it through and decapitate Jupiter. They like split him into three. And Luffy bursts out, like, you know, laughing away as he does in this Nika form. And he's like, oh, that was a close one. Wait, you're the old-timey giant, aren't you? And they're laughing away like, it's been too long, you know. The weight was unbearable. We've come to get you. And that's where the chapter ends. The three of them have reunited. There is no break next week. So we are going to see Dory, Broggy and Luffy going toe-to-toe with some of these monsters. And it's going to be incredible. Like, we know Jupiter is probably just going to regenerate here, by the way. Like, there is no chance that he just gets decapitated and like, yeah, that's one of the Goros say, done already, that was easy. No. He'll just regenerate his body back from his head, most likely. But what if he splits into like two? It's not going to happen. But it's very interesting. He's got human teeth, it's so weird. But interesting that he gave Jupiter a sandworm form. Whether it is a Doom connection, he just wants that like fantasy-esque, like big kaiju monster. But 4 of them are yokai. They are demonic spirits. And he's just a worm. But that double page spread is so cool. 1110. This is a monumental chapter. This is huge. That we've just got the whole reveals ready right at the end of Egghead. Because could you imagine if like the hope is they don't stop the broadcast and the message goes out, and what if there's like a camera on Egghead that then broadcasts to the world these creatures that the Goros say are these 5 demonic spirits, and this is what they look like the world would be terrified. So there is a lot that could happen, but we're definitely like on these like last legs. Like, they're not going to defeat them here. There's not a chance. They're too strong. We've just seen what Nostromo's capable of, almost debilitating like all of the pacifistas in one sword swipe. There's no way Zoro could even fight that. Like, he might hold his own, but it's just not happening. So the escape plan is more likely. Are there going to be any repercussions? I guess we'll find out next time. Let me know what you thought of this chapter. The reveals of these demonic forms. Are they devil fruits? Are they not? Just tell me what you guys think. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.